It's still firmly in focus because of its direct ties to one of the largest exchange platforms, the fixed supply, the utility across trading benefits, and the X layer, and the simple fact that exchange tokens with real platform usage continue to cycle in and out of attention. If this is useful, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment with your honest take on OKB. I actually read them. Looking at ratings and signals, a lot of the technical scanners and community sentiment have leaned cautious to outright negative for an extended period. You'll see a mix of hold and sell readings, especially from tools that track the longer term trend and the position relative to key moving averages. Funding and open interest in the derivatives markets have flipped around, but the short term outlook from pure chart based sources remains defensive until price can reclaim and hold above recent resistance levels with convincing volume. There is more coverage for OKB than for lower ranked names because of its ranking and exchange affiliation, but the consensus from technical and sentiment tools has stayed measured rather than strongly bullish. That's the classic trap setup. The utility is real, the exchange continues to operate at scale, but the market keeps assigning it a lower valuation while attention stays elsewhere. Retail often gets caught here, buying the exchange token with fixed supply argument, while the larger trend remains downward or sideways. On the technical side, the bigger picture remains a clear long-term downtrend from the much higher levels reached earlier. Price has spent extended periods making lower highs and lower lows, with recent action testing support near multi-month levels. Short-term bounces have occurred but have consistently failed to reverse the larger structure. Momentum indicators have been mixed to weak on the higher timeframes, often hovering in neutral to oversold territory without producing strong sustained recoveries. Moving averages on the daily and weekly still lean bearish, and volume has been relatively subdued outside of occasional spikes. Short term, it feels more like a weak consolidation or bounce inside a larger corrective structure than a clean trend reversal. You can argue there is some resilience when price holds the recent lows, but the overall structure still looks heavy. What's going on with OKB right now? The chart has been under pressure for a long stretch. Sell signals keep appearing on the higher time frames, and yet some people still argue this thing is somehow undervalued at these levels. How do those two views even sit together? Let's talk about it. OKB is the native utility and governance token of the OKX ecosystem, one of the major global cryptocurrency exchanges. It offers holders trading fee discounts, VIP privileges, access to platform features such as token launches, and it also serves as the gas token for X layer, OKX's Ethereum Layer 2 network. The supply is permanently capped at 21 million tokens following a major burn. It currently ranks near the top 40 by market cap with solid daily volume, and the price has been trading near the levels you're seeing after a multi-month decline from previous highs. Here's the real debate. Is OKB actually undervalued at these levels, or is this a value trap after a large post-run decline? One side points to the real utility on a major exchange, the trading fee discounts and platform benefits, the fixed 21 million supply, the role as gas on X layer, the distance from previous highs, and the idea that exchange tokens with tangible platform demand could re-rate if capital rotates back into large cap utility assets. They argue that if OKX platform activity stays strong and the token remains central to the ecosystem, these levels could look reasonable in hindsight. The other side says look at the chart and the market structure. Many exchange tokens that peaked during stronger market conditions have struggled to hold value once attention faded. Volume and momentum have been soft for long stretches, and the market has consistently treated OKB as a lower priority large cap name despite the underlying platform activity. Nobody knows which way this resolves. The chart is still fighting the utility narrative, the token continues to sit at the center of a major exchange ecosystem, and the market remains selective about which large cap utility stories it rewards. So the real question is simple. Is this the kind of project that can finally break out of its long underperformance and re-rate higher, or are we just watching another established exchange token token settle into a prolonged period of low relative interest while people argue about valuation. Short term, the picture still looks more consolidative and reactive than impulsive. You need to see stronger volume and a clean break of the recent resistance cluster before the short term bias flips with any real confidence. Longer term, it comes down to whether OKB can convert its exchange utility and fixed supply into sustained demand and relative outperformance for the token. That's the only path that turns these levels into something more constructive instead of just another extended consolidation or grind lower. Risks are meaningful, volatility is still present. A broader risk of move in crypto or continued rotation away from mid to large cap exchange tokens can pressure the price further. Downside remains open if the recent support zone breaks and the downtrend simply continues. Retail traders love the long-term platform utility and fixed supply story and end up holding through multi-month or multi-year underperformance. Liquidity is solid relative to pure microcaps but still thinner than the very top names, so larger moves can still happen quickly. There's also the structural risk that comes with any exchange token. The narrative has to keep generating real platform demand and relative interest, or the token simply fades under competition and shifting attention. Bull case versus bear case is fairly clear. Best case, broader market risk appetite returns, OKX platform activity grows, the token remains central to trading benefits and X layer usage, and price manages to reclaim key resistance levels and start building a higher base. In that scenario, you could see a meaningful recovery toward previous intermediate highs over a longer horizon. Worst case is the opposite. Volume stays muted relative to peers, relative performance continues to lag, and the downtrend simply grinds lower toward new cycle lows. In that scenario, the undervalued talk just becomes background noise while price continues to underperform.